that support me, love me, and tell me how proud they are of me and how far I'm gonna go, right?
Cannot allow to happen to anybody else. You know my abuse. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but the police are on their way. They're 15 minutes out. I will let you know when I can what happens, okay? But I need you guys to know I'm safe. And there's lots of things you will learn. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for giving me the courage.
In the vast ecosystem of online activism, where every influencer is a philosopher and every venting session is a TED Talk, few figures have sparked as much hate, outrage, and eye-rolling confusion as J-Bay Official. For those of you who don't already know, she's a plus-size icon, a fat liberation firebrand, a self-love siren, and depending on who you ask, either the fearless leader of resistance or the embodiment of what happens when Tumblr rhetoric meets unchecked ego and a ring light. Her real name is Jaylin Chaney, and she is a 28-year-old woman from the United States. She is mostly known for her TikTok videos focused entirely on her experience as a plus-sized, highly obese traveler. She likes to visit different places and explore things that are made especially for people like her, but that's not it. Her gospel is food freedom, fat empowerment, and zero apologies. Her latest plot twist is a recent run-in with the law, but don't worry, we'll get to that soon enough.
I'm here. I'm alive. I have a case number now. I'm working on filing a protective order. I'm not getting a whole lot of help. I'm all by myself because I'm stranded. I see that the perpetrator that I...
You see, J-Bay isn't just an influencer. She's a full-blown digital spectacle, equal parts motivational speaker, fast food critic, and chaos enthusiast. She'll post a heartfelt monologue about trauma on Monday, do a mukbang in lingerie on Tuesday, declare war on health professionals by Wednesday, and by the weekend, she's blocking anyone who dares mention blood pressure. And her followers eat it up, literally and figuratively. Because J-Bay isn't selling weight loss or detox teas. She's selling validation. Validation wrapped in body glitter, sprinkled with trauma bonding, and served with a side of defiance. But here's the thing. Behind all the hashtags, the tearful TikToks, and the "you're just fat-phobic" shutdowns, there is a pattern. A messy, chaotic, and often deeply confusing pattern. One where empowerment sometimes looks suspiciously like enabling, where health at every size somehow skips the health part entirely, and where activism becomes a performance so theatrical it now includes a mugshot. Yes, the queen of food freedom is now facing some freedom issues of her own. Though in classic J-Bay fashion, the details are dramatic, the story is still unfolding, and somehow she's managing to spin it into another moment of inspiration. But before we break down our rest, let's ask, how did we get here? How did a woman fighting for respect and representation turn into a lightning rod for controversy, contradiction, and chaos? This isn't a hit piece, it's not fat phobia. This is a reality check, not just for her, but for all of us watching and clapping along as influencers rebrand instability as empowerment and denial as liberation. So buckle up. This is the story of J-Bay Official, the rise, the ranting, the ramen, and what happens when radical self-love turns into reckless self-destruction.
Today, I want to talk about the potential benefits of if my plus-size travel petition was implemented. Firstly, plus-size passengers would no longer be forced to occupy only one seat on an airplane. By providing additional accessible seats, plus-size passengers would have the necessary space to be comfortable during the flight. This would help negate air rage and hostility. Secondly, the reimbursement policy for customers of size who independently purchase a second seat would provide financial relief and fairness. Clear communication of policies would ensure that customers of size have access to all necessary information, making the booking, check-in, and boarding processes more transparent and less stressful. The accommodations outlined, such as larger lavatories, alternative seating arrangements, and a dedicated section for customers of size, would enhance the overall comfort and accessibility of air travel for everyone, not just plus-size passengers. Lastly, employee training on accommodating customers of size would foster a more respectful and inclusive environment, and it would promote a positive travel experience for all passengers, creating a more welcoming and accommodating environment in the airline industry. Click the link in my bio to sign my petition today.
This is a video of J-Bay talking about a petition that she created, demanding that the FAA should basically change everything about air travel in order to accommodate plus-size people. Here, she's complaining about airplanes not being big enough for plus-size people and how her petition can help. And trust us when we say there are many more videos like this on her channel. She has basically built her entire online personality around complaining about how the world isn't inclusive enough for lazy people like her.
Here's some shit that fat people hate, part 2.
We mean she has an issue with almost everything in this world, from ladders and car seats to chairs and bath towels. You name it, and she will probably find a problem with its size. Because according to J-Bay, the size of everything on this planet is a problem, except maybe her own. Now, do we think that size inclusivity is an issue in today's world? Yes, absolutely. Inclusivity in general is a big issue. Many brands still offer sizes that aren't meant for plus-size people, and talking about that is completely valid. As a society, we should be working toward more inclusive brands, more accessible spaces, and more awareness about body diversity. But here's the problem. J-Bay takes it way too far. She has something to complain about in every situation. She thinks she should be given an extra seat on flight for free, and that she's entitled to use mobility aids wherever she goes, regardless of necessity.
Accessibility is for everyone. No one should feel ashamed or embarrassed for using the tools they need to navigate the world. Your worth is not determined by your size or ability. You deserve to feel comfortable and confident wherever you go. Using mobility aids is a sign of strength and self-care, not weakness or defeat. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. Don't let anyone else's opinions or judgments hold you back from living your life to the fullest. You are capable and worthy of all the things you desire. Your body is worthy of respect and care, regardless of its size or shape. You have the right to move through the world with ease and confidence. Accessibility is a human right, not a privilege. Let's work together to create a world where everyone can access the things they need without barriers or discrimination.
And God forbid, someone gently points out she might want to take care of her health. She'll flip on you faster than you can say blood pressure. According to her, any doctor who tells her to lose weight for health reasons is automatically fatphobic. And that right there is where we draw the line between empowerment and complete delusion. However, back when J-Bay first joined TikTok in 2019, her content was a lot more tame and honestly pretty relatable. In the early days, she focused mostly on makeup routines and product reviews, offering a safe space for people dealing with body image struggles. She also shared personal stories from her childhood, using her platform to gently encourage others to embrace their bodies and feel more confident in their own skin.
Stop. Hold up. I need to say something right freaking now. So hold the damn phone. Press pause. Here we go. Here's gonna be some truth. I have so many people that support me, love me, and tell me how proud they are of me and how far I'm gonna go, right? But you know what? It wasn't always that way. And actually, for most of my life, actually since age 6, I was told that I wasn't gonna amount to anything. I was told I was gonna be a drug addict just like my parents, that I was gonna have 3 kids by the time I was 17, and that I wasn't gonna do shit with my life. My whole life, they told me I couldn't, I wouldn't, I shouldn't. And so I, for a minute, believed I can't, I won't, I couldn't even. But guess what? I did. I went far and I'm gonna keep going far. And you are too. So if you have somebody in your life that's told you you can't, the only person who gets to decide that you can or can't is you. And that's on period, point blank. You can, you will, go for it. Do you, honey.
A lot of people don't know this about her, but she actually had a pretty rough childhood. She grew up navigating extreme adversity before ever picking up a camera. She spent her childhood dealing with generational trauma, homelessness, and moving between 14 different schools across 3 states, all while helping support her 4 younger siblings from as early as age 7. Despite these hardships, she managed to graduate high school at 17 and earn a college degree by 21, working multiple jobs along the way. She also shared in a video how her relatives told her that she would never amount to anything. However, despite the discouraging views, she managed to complete her BBA in administration. In 2019, she also graduated from Western Governors University with an MBA. She created J-Bay Productions with the mission of demanding the marginalized voices, especially plus-size individuals, be seen, heard, and respected in industries like travel, healthcare, and media. This was the kind of story that truly resonated with many. A lot of plus-sized individuals who had faced weight-related discrimination in their own lives saw a reflection of their own struggles in her journey. Jaylin became a rallying cry for those who often felt unseen. Her content was like a reassurance that things could be okay. She used to post videos trying on plus-size lingerie or reviewing plus-size friendly clothing brands, and that content genuinely helped people.
This first outfit was my favorite. The shoes are my favorite part. Next, we're gonna get a little spicy. Yep, that's right, some lingerie from Torrid. I personally love this next set. I love lingerie. It makes me feel good in the skin that I'm in. I thought it was super sexy. I love the caged underwear, and the quality is impeccable. And of course, I'm wearing the size 6X. Alright, again, I love the caged look on the top on this one, and I thought the quality...
We mean, look how wholesome that is. She's confident, she's educational, and she's creating awareness. It wasn't just fashion. It was empowerment after all. People who had long struggled to find their sizes in mainstream stores discovered more inclusive brands through her, and those same brands could take her feedback seriously, using it to improve their sizing and designs. This is what fat activism is supposed to be like, creating a space where plus-sized women feel empowered, seen, and heard. If you search through her oldest videos on TikTok, you will see that instead of losing weight and living a healthy life, she was interested in buying things that would accommodate her unhealthy lifestyle and excessive weight. She has talked about things like plus-size mattresses, plus-size camping chairs, and even plus-size bath towels.
You guys had so many questions about my plus-size friendly chairs, my plus-size friendly camping chairs, so I wanted to tell you some information. These camping chairs changed the game for me and my fiance since we're both plus size and we're a 6X. These have a weight capacity of 800 pounds. And although these only can carry 800 pounds, there are chairs that can carry up to 1,000 on Amazon, and they are linked in my bio. So if you're looking for plus size friendly camping chairs or recommendations in general, check out the link in my bio.
Here's just a closer look at the chair.
Click that link in my bio to check out my plus size friendly recommendations. Hey there, y'all. It's your girl, J-Bay. I'm a plus-size content creator and travel blogger, and I am starting a series, y'all. It's about plus-size travel tips, my experiences, all the nitty-gritty, everything in between, y'all. Today's video, we're going to talk about towels and how you can make accommodations for yourself while traveling as a plus-size individual.
However, over time, something began to change. What once felt like genuine advocacy slowly started to feel more like entitlement. Instead of focusing on constructive reviews or body-positive messages, her content became increasingly centered on complaints, often targeting businesses, public spaces, or even medical professionals who, according to her, were not being inclusive enough. Videos that once helped people navigate fashion as plus-sized individuals were now being replaced with rants about how airplane seats weren't built for people her size, or how she deserved extra accommodations everywhere she went. And anyone who dared to suggest that she should take steps for her health, they were immediately labeled as fatphobic.
Stuff Fat People Hate, Part 3.
Over and over again, Jaylin has posted videos complaining about everything from narrow bathroom stalls and uncomfortable bar stools to stadium bleachers and restaurant seating. In her view, the world is simply not designed for plus-size people, and it's everyone else's responsibility to change that. According to her, public infrastructure, furniture, transportation, and basically every shared space should be reconstructed to accommodate individuals like her, regardless of practicality or costs. What makes this more controversial is that she often frames these demands as a form of justice, even though many argue that her current condition is a result of personal choices rather than disability. The underlying message in her content seems to be, I refuse to change, so the world must bend to fit me. And that's where the criticism comes pouring in, from people who see her less as an advocate and more as someone weaponizing inclusivity to justify entitlement. She also regularly demands wheelchairs at hotels and airports due to mobility challenges brought on by her excessive weight. What makes this particularly controversial is her framing of the issue. Rather than recognizing that her limited mobility is a consequence of personal lifestyle choices, she insists on treating it as a natural disability. While her content initially came across as subtle and even empowering, things began to take a darker turn as her follower count grew. The tipping point seemed to come when she began offering travel advice specifically tailored to plus-sized individuals. She frequently posted airline reviews, ranking companies based on how well they cater to overweight passengers. What may have started as helping guidance soon escalated into entitled demands, with Jaylin calling out airlines for not adjusting their services to meet her expectations. For many viewers, this marked the beginning of her descent from body-positive advocate to internet controversy magnet.
Let's talk about what it's like to fly on United Airlines when you are plus size. United Airlines requires that if you cannot sit comfortably in one seat with the armrest down the entire flight duration, that you must purchase a second seat. When booking ahead of time, you can buy the second seat at the same time as your first for the same exact fare. If you do not want to buy a second seat and the option is available, you can choose to upgrade to first, business, or premium cabin class. United Airlines requires that you must be able to fasten your seatbelt with only one extension. And just to mention again, United Airlines does require that you're able to have the armrest down for the entire duration of the flight. So if you have two seats, obviously you have more room. The nice thing is, when you're going with United Airlines and you buy two seats, it does double the amount of checked baggage that you can bring. However, this doesn't ensure that you'll be able to bring twice the amount of carry-ons because that is determined by TSA, so check those guidelines. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.
That plus-size travelers hate. When the tray table can't come down, worrying about asking for a seatbelt extender, having little to no room to move, narrow aisles and bulkhead seats, tiny airplane bathrooms, worrying you're going to break the toilet, getting pat down because you're fat, tiny airport chairs with armrests.
Her travel tip videos quickly gained traction on TikTok, racking up hundreds of thousands of views. While some plus-size viewers resonated with her struggles, others saw her complaints as delusional and borderline entitled. In a Part 3 video of this series, Jaylin expanded her list of grievances to include boat ladders, rental cars, and even turnstiles.
Things plus-size travelers hate when traveling Part 3. Boat ladders, pool ladders, all ladders. Always wondering if you're going to fit. Not being able to find clothes your size anywhere. Getting ridiculous comments about being a fat traveler, turnstiles, and worrying you'll get stuck. Despite the challenges, travel is worth it.
But here's the thing, if you were that concerned about getting stuck in a turnstile, maybe it's time to practice some self-control and address the root of the problem, your weight. Referring to these everyday structures as challenges is honestly laughable. These aren't disabilities or conditions she was born with. They are the direct results of years of poor health choices and an unapologetic attitude toward personal responsibility. When you glamorize butter-soaked meals and treat physical activity like an afterthought, the outcome is predictable: weight gain, reduced mobility, and yes, getting stuck in turnstiles. There is no mystery here. It's cause and effect. As her videos continue to blow up, Jaylin capitalized on the newfound attention by publicly calling out airlines that, in her words, fail to accommodate plus-size travelers. She went as far as advising her followers to avoid specific airlines altogether, claiming their seating was too cramped or that their policies were not inclusive enough. In one particular controversial claim, she alleged that a certain airline refused to fly with an overweight passenger who requested a second seat on a full flight. According to Jaylin, airlines that don't prioritize the comfort of obese passengers are simply unworthy of anyone's business, especially the plus-size community.
As a plus-size travel blogger, I am never flying with these airlines. Let me just start out by saying these are all just my opinions. In no way do you have to listen to me, but if you were asking me for my advice, this is what I would tell you. So many of you have asked me which airlines you should completely avoid if you're plus size, and the first one on my list is American Airlines. So here are the reasons why I wouldn't fly with American Airlines. Their seats tend to be on the smaller size, and there's like horror stories of plus size people being like dragged off their planes, and that just isn't happening for me. The next airline that I avoid as a plus size person is United Airlines. Their seating is just a little bit smaller, again, kind of like American Airlines. And another airline that I avoid as a plus size traveler is Hawaiian Airlines, and let me tell you why. They reserve the right to not board or not transport a plus size passenger if the flight is full and they need a second seat. So that's why I would avoid them. If you want to know which airlines I think are great for plus size passengers and just get more general plus size travel advice, make sure to hit that follow button.
Jaylin became so fixated on the airplane seat issue that it essentially consumed her entire platform throughout 2023. What started as a series of complaints about cramped seating soon evolved into a full-blown crusade. She made it her personal mission to demand that airlines double or even triple seat space for plus-size passengers at no extra charge. Her obsession with this idea escalated to the point where she launched a petition on change.org, rallying her followers to support what she dubbed the fight for travel inclusivity. In her petition, Jaylin called on the Federal Aviation Administration to implement sweeping reforms. These included mandatory larger seats for obese passengers, special training for airline staff to handle plus-size customers with sensitivity, and even redesigned airplane lavatories to accommodate passengers with extreme mobility limitations. While she framed it as a push for equity, many critics saw the petition as another example of demanding accommodations for self-inflicted issues rather than genuine medical conditions. In her next video, she clarified that her petition was not just about plus-size people. She added that taller individuals, people with disabilities, and people seeking comfortable travel experience would also benefit from her demands.
Today, I want to talk about the misconceptions regarding my petition. I recently started a petition that demands the FAA to protect plus-size travelers and customers of size, which millions have heard about now around the world. My petition is about ensuring that every individual has access to safe and comfortable air travel. It's not just about plus-size individuals, but also about individuals with disabilities who may require additional space or accommodations to travel safely and comfortably. By having regulations in place that protect plus-size individuals, it would also benefit those with disabilities, ensuring that they have the space and accommodations they need to travel comfortably. Taller individuals also face many of the same challenges that plus-size travelers face when traveling by air. Legroom is often limited, and plane seats are designed for the average size individual. By having regulations in place that protect plus-size travelers, taller individuals would also benefit greatly. Lastly, there are individuals who physically take up more space regardless of their size, and they also deserve to have access to safe and comfortable air travel. By signing my petition, we are not only advocating for the rights of plus-size individuals, but for the rights of all individuals who face challenges when traveling by air. Let's stand together and demand that the FAA takes action to protect the rights of all air travelers. You can check out my petition by clicking the link in my bio or heading to change.org/petition facebook.com/plus-size-travel. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. Make sure to hit that follow button for more plus-size travel tips and advocacy.
Now we went through her comment section just to see what people had to say about this, and what we found was pretty eye-opening. A lot of people, including those from the plus-size community she claims to represent, didn't agree with her entitled demands. Many pointed out that air travel is a luxury, not a right, and that airlines can't simply remove paying passengers from a full flight just because someone demands an extra seat. Even plus-size viewers acknowledge that while accessibility matters, personal accountability does too, and Jaylen's approach came off as unreasonable and out of touch with reality. One user on TikTok commented, "I'm 6'6", 260 pounds. I have no legroom in coach, but I don't deserve an upgrade just for being tall. Pay for the space you need." Another said, "I am plus size and I get the discomfort, but I feel like it's my responsibility. If it's too tight, then I either deal with it or buy myself another seat." And then there were some who made jokes to mock the idea in itself. "I have a food addiction, and every airline must give me as much as food they have on the plane for my comfort." Nonetheless, the petition gained traction online. Interesting enough, if you look up her petition right now, you will find that it has already amassed nearly 40,000 signatures. That's a surprising number considering the demands she was making, demands that many view as unrealistic, entitled, or simply out of touch with how air travel works. However, according to us, the real problem with Jaylen isn't even she's demanding all of these changes. Sure, we could brush that aside and say, maybe the world isn't all that inclusive after all. But here's the bigger issue. Jaylen suffers from a myriad of health problems, including a pulmonary heart condition that is directly linked to her weight and high blood pressure. And while she is online insisting that airlines, hotel hallways, and bathrooms and even boat ladders should change to accommodate her size, she's out there living a life filled with junk food. She eats whatever her heart desires with seemingly no second thought or accountability.
Let's get one thing straight. Food has no moral value. It's not good or bad, it's just food. And guess what? That people are allowed to eat what they want without justifying it to anyone. As someone who lives with an eating disorder, I've spent years unlearning the lies society tells us. Lies like, you have to earn your food, that you should feel guilty for enjoying it, that you have to work it off later. None of that is true. The truth is, food is fuel, food is joy, and food is connection. And fat people deserve to experience all of that without shame or judgment, period. Here's another hard truth. Shame isn't a weight loss plan. Judgment doesn't make anyone healthier. And your unsolicited opinions about my food choices, they don't belong here. Fat people don't owe you diets. We don't owe you weight loss journeys. We don't owe you a damn thing. We're allowed to just exist and enjoy life while we're at it. So if my eating offends you, that's your problem, not mine. I refuse to shrink my body or my appetite to make you comfortable. My body, my rules, my food, end of story.
It's not just the demands that are concerning, it's the complete lack of personal responsibility behind them. You cannot campaign for structural change while actively ignoring the very habits that contribute to the problem.
It's that time of year again when the diet industry starts pushing those new year, new you promises. Let me tell you something. You don't need to change a damn thing. I'm not here for any of that. No, I won't be joining. Your New Year's resolution diet plan. I'm all about embracing food, freedom, and that includes eating whatever the heck I want. The diet industry wants you to believe you need to change your body to have a great year. Well, guess what? You're already great, and so is your body. I don't need to punish myself with restrictive diets or guilt over enjoying food. Food doesn't have a moral value. So let's ditch the diet culture and celebrate ourselves instead. We don't need to change to enjoy life. We're already living it to the fullest. No resolutions, just real, unapologetic joy, because this year we're choosing freedom. Freedom from the lies, the guilt, and the toxic diet culture. We're here for the good food, the good vibes, and all the happiness we can get. You're perfect just as you are, and that's worth celebrating every damn day.
While Jalen demands the world accommodate her body, reconstructing infrastructure, offering free services, and adjusting every aspect of public life, she herself lives by the mantra, food is fuel. And by fuel, she clearly means donuts, Coke, and anything deep fried. There are countless videos of her happily munching on junk food while preaching about food freedom. But here's the reality. This extremely unhealthy lifestyle is taking a serious toll. Jalen frequently appeared on camera with oxygen support, which clearly affects her mobility and overall quality of life. When asked about her reliance on oxygen, she explained that she suffers from pulmonary hypertension, a condition that causes breathing difficulty, chest pain, and dizziness.
Hey there, thanks for asking this question. I actually get this question all the time, especially being somebody in a larger body. A lot of people assume that I have oxygen because of my weight or something like that. The reason I actually wear oxygen is because I have a rare lung disease. It is called pulmonary hypertension, not to be mistaken with high blood pressure. It is an actual lung disease that affects a lot of people. Weight is not really a factor that goes into it. It affects a lot of babies. It affects people of all ages, and they don't really know what causes it. So I wear oxygen because my oxygen levels don't stay high unless I'm wearing it. And so yeah, I have pulmonary hypertension, rare lung disease, which is why I wear oxygen.
Still, Jalen insists that her condition has nothing to do with her weight. However, the problem is that medical experts disagree, stating that maintaining a healthy body weight can significantly reduce the severity of pulmonary hypertension symptoms. Despite facing serious health issues, Jalen continues to resist any discussion around her weight loss. Instead, she promotes a narrative that normalizes a dangerously unhealthy lifestyle. And look, if she chooses to remain obese and unhealthy, that's entirely her decision. But expecting the world to bend over backward to meet her every demand, that's where it crosses the line. As if all of this is not enough, in October 2024, Jalen shifted her focus from planes to hotels and uploaded a video that can only be described as unhinged. In this clip, she listed an outrageous numbers of suggestions that hotels should implement to ensure fat guests feel comfortable. We are talking about widened hallways, larger elevators, bigger chairs, studio beds, and luxurious custom bathrooms. Basically, she wants the entire hospitality industry to redesign itself around her. As if demanding 2 free seats on every flight wasn't enough, now she wants a 5-star upgrade on someone else's dime. If this is not insane enough, Jalen next goes about targeting restaurants, telling them a bunch of things they need to change about their seating arrangements to accommodate fat people.
If you've ever been uncomfortable in a restaurant because of your size, I know the struggle, and that's why I'm making today's video. Today's video is all about how restaurants can be more size inclusive and accessible for people of all sizes and abilities. Here are my 10 solutions for how restaurants can create a more inclusive environment. Solution number 1, comfortable seating. Restaurants should provide spacious and sturdy chairs without armrests so that people of all sizes can dine comfortably. Solution number 2, flexible table arrangements. Solution number 3, accessible restrooms. Solution number 4, reservation flexibility. Allow guests to request seating preferences during the reservation process. Solution number 5, provide key information on your website. Solution number 6, ensure that your tables are not secured to the ground. Solution number 7, offer more room in booth seating. Solution number 8, staff training. Solution number 9, outdoor dining. If you've got an outdoor dining area, make sure you have some chairs without armrests. And last but not least, solution 10, showcase photos. Consider showcasing photos of your typical seating and table setups on your website.
Now we get it. Some hotel furniture is a little flimsy, and sure, having a few armless chairs here and there wouldn't hurt, but Jalen's wish list for hotel accommodations That's not just thinking out of the box, that's bulldozing the entire hotel and rebuilding it from scratch. Let's start with her biggest hits. Supersized beds for every room, because king size apparently isn't king enough. Wider hallways and elevators big enough to double as dance floors. You'd think she was designing a hotel for giants, not just advocating for inclusivity. And mind you, she's not just suggesting these as optional features for select suites. No, she wants every hotel, from your local 3-star lodge to vintage boutique inns built in the 1800s, to jump on board. Because clearly, centuries-old architecture should bend over backward for one person's TikTok crusade. But wait, there's more. Hotels should apparently throw in heavy-duty bathrobes and beach loungers made for the Hulk. Bathroom fixtures that could survive a WWE match and complete overhaul of every shower and toilet. Oh, and don't forget the website updates. According to Jalen, hotels should now start listing bed weight limits, chair measurements, hallway widths, and probably the tensile strength of the towel racks too, just so no one's feelings get hurt. Look, accessibility is a good thing, an important thing, but there's a line between accommodating and completely remodeling civilization. At some point, you have to ask, is this about inclusion or just wild entitlement wrapped in body positivity? And as Jalen's wild hot takes on plus-size inclusivity started making the rounds online, it didn't take long for the mainstream media to jump on the bandwagon. Big-name outlets like Daily Mail, CNN, and the New York Post couldn't resist the spectacle. After all, it's not every day someone demands the airline industry reinvent itself in the name of comfort. Well, her comfort.
Plus-size travelers deserve better. This article came out just a few days ago, and we're going to talk about it in this video. All I had to do was read the title of this article, and I was automatically upset. A British Airways passenger was stuck in his seat for 3 hours after landing and had to be taken out of his first class seat with a hoist. What this passenger had to experience is unacceptable, and this is the exact reason why I started my plus-size travel petition this year. And as a matter of fact, they actually linked to the CNN article that talks about my petition in this article. I'm fighting every single day for inclusivity in the airline industry. That way, things like this don't happen to plus-size passengers, because this is absolutely unfathomable. This passenger did what all those people who say to do in my comments, just simply upgrade to first class, and this should prove as an example to you why that doesn't always work or apply. This man was stuck in his seat, unable to move for 9.5 hours. That is not okay, and nobody should have to endure that. That comes with pain, embarrassment, humiliation, and more. So if you agree and think that no human should have to endure this, go ahead and sign my plus-size travel petition today. Together, we can fight to make travel more inclusive and make sure that things like this don't happen anymore.
The headlines poured in, all highlighting Jalen's bold petition, where she insisted that airlines widen their seats, offer extra accommodations at no additional cost, and basically roll out the red carpet for larger passengers, no questions asked. Her message was loud and clear. Forget engineering, logistics, or basic economics. Just make flying fabulous for the few, even if it's chaos for the many. Now, if you think this is a lot, just stick around because there is more. Jalen posted another TikTok on her account in May 2024 that really stirred the pot. In this TikTok expose, she shared her latest brush with discrimination, this time at SeaTac Airport. And no, it wasn't about seat sizes or snack portions. It was about their wheelchair assistance, or lack thereof.
My ordeal at SeaTac Airport will shock you. This experience I'm about to share with you is yet another example of why employee sensitivity training, a demand outlined in the plus-size travel petition, is desperately needed. I'm a plus-size wheelchair user, and on a recent flight to the SeaTac Airport, I requested wheelchair assistance, as I always do. When it came time for me to deplane, I saw the employee who would be assisting me with my wheelchair waiting for me in the entry of the jet bridge. As I approached her and she realized she'd be assisting me and not one of the smaller passengers, she started to walk away with the wheelchair while making comments about my size. Even when I told her I really needed the chair and needed her to let me sit down in it, she blatantly ignored me and kept walking. I was then forced to walk up one of the longest jet bridges I've encountered, and she didn't stop. By the time she let me reach the wheelchair and sit down, my lips were white. My oxygen levels had dropped and I almost fainted. This was my first time flying without oxygen. This woman just assumed I could walk and would rather me do that, instead of her having to push someone my size up the jet bridge. All the other attendants wheeled their passengers up the jet bridge, but my needs were disregarded. This is discrimination. Nobody should be treated this way. Share your story at change.org/size travel.
She said that the airport employee assigned to help her dared to walk slightly ahead, apparently not realizing he was expected to chauffeur her every step of the way like a personal valet. So instead of speaking up or simply asking for help again, Jalen decided to tough it out and dramatically trek up the jet bridge on foot. The result was TikTok meltdown, where she claimed her oxygen levels dropped and the internet was once again invited to mourn her inconvenience. But of course, she didn't stop there. Jalen took things up a step further and hopped onto Instagram to post a follow-up video, calling on her followers to stand in solidarity with her. Yes, she was rallying the troops, urging people to protest the horrifying injustice of an airport employee not pushing her wheelchair. In the video, she dramatically invited others from plus-size community to join her at SeaTac Airport in a full podcast, all because she had to walk up a jet bridge. Honestly, Rosa Parks is rolling in her grave now.
All right, listen up. It's your girl Jay, and I got something to say right now, right here. Today, I want to go ahead and talk about SeaTac Airport. You hear that plane? Well, I'm staying right outside SeaTac right now at an incredible hotel that I've gotten to partner with. But I have something to say, and I think you want to hear it. If you're familiar with my experience at SeaTac, where they refused to push me in a wheelchair, you saw that video, and they refused to push me because I was too fat. And they had absolutely no consideration for my physical health, my well-being, my needs, none of the above. Well, I thought maybe I was the only person that happened to experience that, and it was just something that was really uncommon. And then I talked to someone incredible in our community, and they're a much smaller fat person than I am, and they experienced the same damn thing. Then I talked to someone else who has also experienced something very similar. And you know what? Enough is enough. If you've ever had a bad experience with SeaTac, we would love for you to come out and be part of the protest. Let's show them that they cannot treat people like this. They cannot treat anyone like this, and they cannot treat fat people like this. This is unacceptable and it's discrimination, and it will not be tolerated any longer. So if you want to be a part of this protest, DM me tonight, DM me tomorrow, but let's go ahead and make it happen. We will be at SeaTac Airport Tuesday, February 4th. If you want to protest at SeaTac in solidarity with me, come on by. If you see me at SeaTac, please come up and say hello. Stand in solidarity with us. SeaTac will be held accountable for their actions. We will not stand for this any longer. If you've had an experience like this, please share it with me via DM or drop it in the comments. Let's start the conversation, because this needs to be talked about.
Then on February 7th, 2025, she posted a video of herself standing at the airport holding a sign over her head that read, "SeaTac violates our rights, #wheelchair access for all." Because nothing screams civil rights movement quite like someone upset over not getting a personal wheelchair chauffeur at an airport. At this point, honestly, nothing she does is going to surprise anyone. Jalen has mastered the art of the victim complex, and you will soon understand why we are saying this as we dive into some of the most recent drama she stirred up, including her arrest and an alleged domestic violence situation that's left the internet in complete disbelief. But before we dive into all the chaos that followed, let's rewind a bit and touch on something Jalen was doing at the start of 2025. In January, she started what she called the Fat Equality Bill of Rights, and she posted herself TikToks passionately talking about it. According to her, this was a movement to push for two major initiatives, the Fat Equality Bill of Rights and the Fat Accessibility Act.
And I want you to be part of this revolution. Every day, fat individuals face barriers that nobody should have to live with. Whether it's being turned away from a doctor's office, not fitting into seats on public transportation, or being unfairly judged in the workplace. These aren't just inconveniences, they're human rights violations. The Fat Equality Bill of Rights is a critical step towards changing all of that. It's a set of protections designed to ensure fat people are treated with the same respect, dignity, and access to basic rights as everybody else. And it's time to make this a reality. Just like the civil rights movements that have reshaped history, we're fighting for a world where fat people are treated with fairness, not just tolerance. This is about the right to exist without fear of discrimination, exclusion, or ridicule. It's a civil rights issue, and it's time for change. And here's what the Fat Equality Bill of Rights could change for you. This bill will protect fat individuals in every area of life, from healthcare to employment, transportation to education. Imagine walking into a doctor's office and not fearing weight bias. Imagine sitting on a plane without embarrassment, or shopping in a store that actually carries your size. These are the changes we're fighting for. The Fat Equality Bill of Rights isn't just a piece of paper. It's a movement that will reshape how society views, treats, and accommodates fat people. It will make the world more accessible, fair, and inclusive for all of us. But I can't do this alone. 2025 will be my year of fighting for body justice, and I'm bringing all of you with me. I'm committing to this fight because I believe in a world where fat people are equal, and accessible isn't just possible, it's necessary. So let's make it happen. Sign the petition, share your stories, and let's push for the Fat Equality Bill of Rights to become a law, because your body deserves justice. We deserve justice. So join me. Head to change.org/fatequality and let's make 2025 the year we change everything for everybody. Imagine waking up every single day knowing the world was never built for you. From the moment you step out the door, you're constantly reminded that your body isn't welcome. The chairs don't fit, the healthcare system doesn't care, the public spaces aren't made for you. And here's the worst part. You're told over and over and over again that your existence is a problem. This isn't just inconvenient, it's not just uncomfortable, it's mentally draining. The constant anxiety, the self-doubt, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, the world is designed to shut you out. And that toll, it doesn't just disappear. It destroys your self-worth. You might not think it affects you, but it affects all of us. Because when one group suffers in silence, we all lose. And what I just described, that's the reality that many fat people face every day. A reality that needs to change. Every day, fat people face barriers that most people never even think about. Whether it's a chair that's too small to sit in, healthcare equipment that doesn't fit, or being turned away from basic services, these physical barriers are more than just frustrating, they're exhausting. And over time, that exhaustion builds up when you're constantly reminded that the world was not built for you. It starts to take a toll. It's the little things, the uncomfortable feeling of squeezing into a seat, the anxiety before a doctor's appointment because you're not sure if they'll even have the right equipment, or the fear of being judged by people when you're just trying to exist. These aren't inconveniences, they're constant reminders that you do not belong. That your body, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you learn to embrace it, it's seen as a problem. And that wears on you. Over time, it chips away at your confidence, your dignity, and your sense of worth. And it's not just the physical barriers, it's the emotional toll, the fear of being judged, the constant needing to explain yourself, the mental gymnastics you do just to avoid being seen as too much. It's exhausting to live in a world that doesn't make space for you. And it's even harder when the world tells you that your existence is a burden. Living in an inaccessible world means living with the constant reminder that the spaces meant to serve everyone are often built with only some people in mind. This exclusion, it's not just a physical barrier, it's a mental one, and it affects our mental health. It leads to anxiety, depression, the feelings of isolation. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. That's why we need to talk about accessibility, not just from a physical standpoint, but from a mental one. The Fat Accessibility Act is about more than just fitting into spaces. It's about creating a world where fat people can exist without the emotional burden of constantly fighting for equal access. Imagine a world where you didn't have to worry about whether you'd fit into a chair, where medical equipment was designed for your body, where you could walk into any space and feel like you belonged. A world where you don't have to carry the weight of inaccessibility on your shoulders every single day. That world is possible, but it's going to take all of us working together. The Fat Accessibility Act is a step towards that change. It's about creating a world where we can all move throughout life with dignity, comfort, and equal access. And we need your voice to make it happen. If you're ready to help us build a world where no one has to carry the mental toll of inaccessibility, it starts with you. Take a moment to fill out our survey. It's linked in my bio, and share your thoughts. Together, we can make this vision a reality. Let's make 2025 the year we start creating a world that works for everybody. Join me.
Now, the core of her message was that plus-sized individuals deserve better treatment in public spaces, whether it's larger seating in public transportation, more accessible facilities, or less medical bias. In theory, there is a valid discussion here. Everyone deserves dignity and accessibility, no matter their body size. However, Jalen took it a step further by comparing her movement to civil rights movement, which, let's just say, didn't sit well with a lot of people online. Because let's be honest, while fat activism is a real thing, and yes, representation matters, the internet, and honestly most of the society in 2025, couldn't help but feel there are bigger issues to focus on. People were quick to point out her message seemed less about systematic change and more about personal entitlement. So while she's trying to push what she calls a groundbreaking movement, a lot of folks are just wondering, is this really a hill to die on? The suspicion that Jalen's movement was less about genuine fact activism and more about supporting her personal lifestyle really started to grow when she launched her GoFundMe. She posted a video introducing the fundraiser, asking for financial support to continue her advocacy work, but the timing raised a lot of eyebrows.
Hey friends, I'm here today with something a little different, and I'm gonna be real with you for a minute. As you all know, I've been on this journey for a long time, fighting for fat liberation, challenging fat phobia, and pushing for better representation, especially in travel, healthcare, and mental health. But I need to be honest with you. I've never asked for donations before, but I've been putting so much of myself into this work, time, energy, and even my own well-being. And it's been tough. I've hit a point where I can't keep doing it all on my own, and that's why I'm reaching out. If you've ever felt like my content has resonated with you, or if you believe in this mission, I'm asking for your help. Your donations are going to fund a lot of important work, like reaching out to businesses and healthcare providers to help them understand the needs of fat folks, and creating resources to navigate fat phobia, and even doing in-person and virtual events to spread awareness. This isn't just about me. This is about all of us working to create a world where fat people feel seen, heard, and respected. Your donations will help gather real-world data on fat experiences in healthcare and travel, so we can actually push for change. We'll also be making materials to challenge fat phobia in public spaces and creating free resources for fat folks to thrive. If you're able to donate or share, I can't thank you enough. We're in this together, and I believe it with all my heart that we can make a difference. Let's make 2025 the year we change the world for fat people. Just click the link below and share it with anyone who might resonate with the work that I'm doing. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe or follow me for more.
Almost immediately after the GoFundMe went live, Jalen started pumping out content about traveling, visiting fat-friendly destinations, and treating herself at salons and restaurants that cater to plus-size clientele. It felt less like activism and more like a sponsored vacation funded by her followers. And just to be clear, we don't have a problem with this kind of content at all. In fact, in our opinion, this is exactly the kind of content she should be making. Informative, uplifting, and focused on fat-friendly spaces that help people seen and included. But the issue is the sudden shift. For the longest time, Jalen's account had mostly been about complaints, rants about mistreatment, grievances about airline seats, call-outs against businesses, and so on. So when she suddenly flipped the switch and began posting polished videos about luxury travel, self-care, and body-positive dining experiences right after launching her GoFundMe, it raised a lot of questions. Mainly, what exactly was the money for? She never really gave a clear explanation about the GoFundMe was intended to support. Was it to fund legal action, community outreach, educational programs? None of what was spelled out. So it's completely understandable why people started to suspect that she was seeking money under the guise of activism, when in reality, it may have just been a way to finance her lifestyle. But trust us when we say, this is just the beginning of the drama. In the recent days, Jalen has found herself smack dab in the center of a storm of controversy, with her name flooding TikTok comment sections, Reddit threads, and Instagram stories. All of this kicked off after she made some pretty serious and frankly shocking posts on Instagram, time that had people doing double takes and asking, wait, what happened? But to really understand how we got there, how things spiraled into full-blown chaos, we need to rewind a bit, specifically to February 2025. That's when Jalen suddenly popped up on social media, absolutely buzzing with excitement over an upcoming event. She was talking about it non-stop, hyping it up. The event in question was a body positive festival hosted in San Diego by a group known as the Festival Babes, a US-based influencer collective of over 7,000 women focused on EDM events, fashion, and content creation. They host meetups, brand activations, and fashion shows. On her Instagram, she claimed it has always been her dream to work with the Festival Babes, even though she's never previously shown any interest in rave culture. But hey, we're not questioning that yet. However, little did we know that this was the exact point where the drama would start to simmer. Because what happened at the event, and more importantly, what happened after, would open the floodgates to one of the most chaotic chapters in Jalen's online presence yet. So fast forward to Feb 17th, the day of the big event, and spoiler alert, it didn't go well for Jalen. According to her, she was invited as a VIP guest, but ended up feeling humiliated and claimed that her well-being was blatantly disregarded. In her own words, I traveled across the country after being personally invited to attend and cover an event by a well-known festival brand. I was promised a VIP experience and treated with respect and professionalism. What I actually received was deception, humiliation, and blatant disregard for my well-being. I've since learned that the VIP experience I was promised never existed. I was led to believe I would have certain accommodations, but instead, I was left stranded, dismissed, and ignored. I've been in direct contact with others involved, and let's just say, they don't stand this company either. In fact, they were completely unaware of what I had been promised under their name. Now, according to her, she was dismissed, stranded, and humiliated, and sure, that might be true. But let's just be honest. But it's also entirely possible she was exaggerating, maybe even a lot. If there's one thing we've learned about her, it's that she tends to be dramatic and play the victim. This could have been another SeaTac airport situation. Maybe an employee didn't follow her around, push her wheelchair, and offer her drinks every other second, and suddenly it became a violation of her rights and blatant disregard for her well-being, because honestly, that's just what she does. But this is just one part of the story, because Jalen didn't stop there. After making all those claims about being mistreated, she escalated things even further by posting that she was now dying of sepsis in a hospital bed as a result of the trip. According to her, the lack of proper care, attention, and the VIP treatment during the event had taken such a toll on her health that she ended up severely ill, hospitalized, and fighting for her life.
So, I'm sorry that I went MIA. I came to cover an event, and I ended up in a hospital bed. There's more to come soon. But I just need you to know I'm safe for now. And I'll be sharing more very soon. Thank you for everyone who's reached out. It means so much to me. More than you'll ever.
For those of you who don't know, sepsis is a life-threatening medical condition that occurs when the body has an extreme overactive response to an infection. Instead of fighting off the infection, the immune system goes into overdrive and starts attacking the body's own tissues and organs. This can lead to widespread inflammation, blood clotting, organ failure, and if not treated quickly, even death. And according to Jalen, it all happened because of this event. Now, whether that's full truth or not is definitely up for debate, especially if you've followed her long enough to know that she tends to exaggerate and lean into a victim narrative pretty heavily. It's worth noting that she has a long history of turning minor inconveniences into full-blown crisis online. So when she claimed to be dying from an infection because a rave didn't cater to her specific needs, a lot of people were understandably skeptical. But the reason we're emphasizing this event is because it marked the beginning of a major shift in her online presence. Shortly after the incident, she started posting increasingly emotional and dramatic content. One video she uploaded to Instagram showed her being just sad in general, and the video was captioned, "Attention, everyone, loyal followers, brand partners, and giveaway winners. I am reaching out because I need your help now more than ever. I'm truly sorry to ask this, but I am in a desperate place with nowhere else to turn. Over the past years, I've endured intense trauma, isolation, and abuse. After a recent hospital discharge, I had to leave behind a toxic situation that was draining me. Now, at 28, without a financial safety net, I am fighting to heal mentally, physically, and emotionally. If you haven't heard from me lately, please know this is why. Your support, whether through donations, sharing this post, or even just a kind word, means everything to me. In these dark times, I promise I'll update you as soon as I can." Now, this caption alone was as sketchy and confusing as it could get. Although she didn't explain much, it left plenty of room for speculation. And speculate people did. A lot of followers started to assume that she might be in some sort of DV situation or possibly being abused by her partner, who, if you've been keeping up, had made more than a few appearances on her Instagram. So naturally, even people who normally don't agree with her or are skeptical of her content were suddenly concerned and reaching out asking what was going on. To make things even more intense, she changed her Instagram bio and unsurprisingly added a link to a new GoFundMe page. Her new bio read, "Fighting for my life after sepsis and abuse. Your support makes all the difference. Donate via Venmo." Following her GoFundMe page, which was titled "Trapped in a Nightmare, Disabled Women's Fight for Life." Part of the description on her GoFundMe page includes some very disturbing and vague details. She says, "For far too long, I've been forced to hide my pain, burying secrets that nearly cost me my life. I almost died from sepsis. In that moment of desperate clarity, I realized how fragile life truly is. It's nothing short of a miracle that I'm here today. But surviving sepsis was only the beginning of my battle. For over a year, and even longer in some ways, I've been fighting relentless trauma, isolation, and abuse. I was trapped in a controlling, abusive relationship that drained every part of me, leaving scars that can run deep, both physically and emotionally. I was forced to mask my suffering. While the public only saw fragments of a life I no longer recognized as my own. After a harrowing hospital stay, I was discharged and placed in a hotel, a temporary refuge that barely shields me from the chaos behind closed doors. At 28, as a disabled person with no financial safety net and virtually no family to turn out, now I face the impossible task of rebuilding my shattered life. Every day is a struggle to reclaim my voice, to heal physically, mentally, and emotionally, and to piece together a future that feels safe and hopeful. Now, if what Jalen is saying in here is true, then this is an extremely serious situation, and that's exactly why we believe it's important to approach this topic with care. We never want to be in a position where we don't believe a survivor or dismiss someone's story, but at the same time, given Jalen's history of stretching the truth, it's just as important to keep those past behaviors in mind before making up our opinion about who's really telling the truth in this situation. It's a delicate balance, wanting to support someone who says they've been harmed while also being honest about the credibility of the person telling the story. We're saying all of this because after Jalen made her initial posts, even more troubling details began to surface, and honestly, things got pretty confusing. In the days following her story about the alleged abuse, She began posting a lot of content across her social media, but instead of moving forward, it became increasingly clear that she was not doing well, mentally or physically. And no, it didn't seem like she was putting on an act. She looked visibly distressed. It looked visibly distressed in most of her videos, and her behavior raised serious concern among viewers. For example, she posted a video on Instagram with a caption that read, "Update, I am now safe. My perpetrator is going to be served. I have a chat with the police department. I am safe, and his family and what they've done to me will be exposed. I am not threatening anyone, but that's what God has told me. I thank you for all the help that you have given me, but I no longer need your help. God is in his hands, and you will know my story one day, but for now, I need to take a break. I am a survivor of domestic violence, and honestly, when you hear the story, it's gonna bring tears to your eyes. Thank you for your support, but at this time, I have nothing else to say. Once I am ready, I will share my story with you." So basically in this post, she tells everyone that she's safe now and that one day everyone is going to hear her story, but not today. For whatever reason, she also confirmed everyone's biggest concern, that she was a victim of domestic violence. Now, that's a pretty serious claim to make, and why we're always in support of victims and survivors of domestic violence speaking up when they're ready, taking time off the internet, and healing in private, that's not what it seemed to be happening here. Even after saying she was taking a break, she kept posting story after story, all repeating the same message, that she was safe and that her perpetrator was going to face justice, and that she wasn't ready to share the full story yet. All of these videos were shared to her stories, not her feed, so we're not sure how many people actually saw them before they disappeared. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down and play those videos one by one to give you an idea of just how chaotic it got and how much she was, for lack of a better word, spiraling.
To do this, I've tried to figure out what I was meant to do. And today something happened that I cannot allow to happen to anybody else. You know my abuse. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but the police are on their way. They're 15 minutes out. I will let you know when I can what happens, okay? But I need you guys to know I'm safe. And there's lots of things you will learn. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for giving me the courage and the strength to do this. But most of all, I have to thank God, because I would not be alive had today not played out the way it did. You will understand one day, I promise. But for now, I'm going to be gone, and I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. But please know that I am safe.
This was the first video she posted on her story. She looked visibly upset and said that she had already called 911 and they were on their way. She also mentioned that if God hadn't helped her, she wouldn't be alive. Something she said before, and honestly, it's very disturbing. If she's making a statement like that, it strongly suggests that her perpetrator or ex-partner, the one she is accused of being abusive, may have done something to physically harm her. Her first initial story was followed by another one in which she told people she was safe.
I'm here. I'm alive. I have a case number now. I'm working on filing a protective order. I'm not getting a whole lot of help. I'm all by myself because I'm stranded. I see that the perpetrator, that I will not name here just for legal purposes and safety purposes, is now falsely spreading information. I'm going to allow the police to handle it. There's a lot, and I really didn't want it to be this way, but I don't know what else to do. Everyone, I'm safe. I hope. I'm getting a protective order as soon as possible. Sorry. I'm safe for now. I'm trying to keep you guys updated. I'm trying to cover my ass because I literally don't know what I'm doing. I've never been in this situation. And the things you guys are about to find out are things I wanted to take to the grave, but, you know, that was also someone else's plan. And his family is now threatening me. I have all the documentation. I promise you guys will see everything. All right, well, at this point, everything's on. It's all reported. I don't know what happens from here, but I can tell you that the police department in Kennewick They got it all on body cam. I will be requesting that footage. It's very bad, and I didn't want to have to post it. I never wanted to have to do this, but when my life was actually threatened, and when you hear the story, you will understand why. It is by the grace of God that I am alive. I've been trying to remain steadfast in this and strong, and I am. I'm very firm in what I believe. I know what happened to me. I have all of it documented. The police department didn't help. I've called every resource they have. They've been very aggressive towards me. You know how the police are towards African-American people like myself. I'm not going to tag them. They're telling me I can't get a protective order till tomorrow. I have to get to the court. But mind you, I've been stranded because perpetrator got our car repoed. I've been living it. Yeah, there's a lot that's going to come out. I guess if his family wants to threaten me, then I have to expose them. And they've been abusive and threatening, and there's proof of it dating back to, sadly, I've had to include every single member of his family that has done anything illegal. I'm not going to speak on that because I'm scared. But if you're in Kennewick, Washington, because at this point, I don't really know how else to get safety. The police are definitely failing me. I've talked to a sergeant. I've talked to multiple officers. Everything I've been asked to do, they have done nothing. And they've questioned me at every turn. They want me to stay in town and testify, but they don't. He said, quote unquote, the police is not a taxi service. So although you're stranded, you'll have to figure out how to get to the courthouse on your own. I didn't record that, but it should be recorded. My lawyer, I'm sure, will get it all taken care of. But because it's Sunday, you know how that goes. If I am not alive tomorrow, everything is in my phone. I'm sorry to have to traumatize you this way. I wish it wasn't this way. I really do. I will explain everything. There will be a legal proceeding. They want me to testify. They've already made very clear where they stand and on what I've told them. I'm sorry, everyone. And I feel bad for him because I'm brainwashed because of him.
In the second video, Jalen becomes emotional and begins to openly criticize the authorities, claiming that the police had completely failed her in her time of need. She also accuses her ex-partner of spreading false allegations about her and says that his family has been actively threatening her behind the scenes. At first, all of this seemed vague and honestly confusing. She didn't provide much context, and it was hard to figure out what exactly happened or who she was referring to. But after doing a bit of digging ourselves, we found that her ex-partner had actually released a public statement shortly after Jalen started sharing all of this on social media. That's when things started to make a little more sense, and the situation became even messier than we initially thought. In what we believe to be a TikTok post, her ex-partner wrote, "Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a moment to address something personal. As some of you may know, Jalen and I have recently gone our separate ways. Breakups are never easy, and this has been an especially difficult time for me. Despite everything that has happened between us, I genuinely wish her the best moving forward. I know that in situations like this, there are always different perspectives. She has her story and I have mine. I'm not here to argue or get into details, but I do want to say thank you to those who have supported me during this time. It truly means a lot. If anyone has any questions or just wants to check in, feel free to reach out. Again, I appreciate all the kindness and understanding. Not only that, but we also came across a Reddit thread where users pointed out that her ex-partner had apparently liked a comment under a TikTok video he posted, one that outright suggested Jalen was lying about the entire situation. Whether it was intentional or not, it definitely didn't help her case and only added more fuel to the fire. People began speculating even more about who was telling the truth, and honestly, it just made the whole situation even murkier. The comment that her ex-partner liked read, "I think Jay falsely accused him of DV, physical and emotional abuse. They went off rails calling 911 and saying she feared for her life because of him and his family. From what I gather, she's off." Now, while that TikTok comment was just one example, there are countless posts all over Reddit and other social media platforms where people are speculating that J-Bay has completely gone off the rails and may be falsely accusing her boyfriend of emotional and physical abuse. Of course, we initially wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt as someone who openly claimed to be a survivor, because, let's be honest, it's incredibly important not to dismiss someone who says they've been through something as serious as domestic violence. But what came after those initial videos really shifted our perspective. Knowing what we know now, we can't help but feel that there might be some truth to what people are saying online. It's starting to look like Jalen may have spiraled far more than anyone initially realized. Because despite saying she was going to take a break, Jalen clearly wasn't planning on slowing down anytime soon. She kept going pretty hard on her Instagram stories, posting non-stop, often repeating the same things over and over again. She kept insisting she was safe, that she was fighting something big, and that she couldn't share the full details just yet. It all came off as cryptic and honestly, a little concerning.
A little bit rough, okay? I get it. But you guys, you can probably understand, right? And once you hear what happened, oh my gosh. But now that the truth is out to the police, I'm not saying anything. I'm going to let the police and the universe handle whatever it is they need to handle. This family knows what they did to me, and now the whole world will know what they did to me. I'm protected, and I need you all to know that I'm okay. I'm safe, I'm sound, and whatever happened in this room today, I will share with you one day. But just know that this is not a fight I'm fighting alone. And just know that I'm okay, and I'm more free and more safe than I have ever been. And you will come to know that. I will share my testimony with you. You will know that. And I will fight for every single one of you. And every single one of you that's helped me, you will be helped tenfold. And my actions don't have to, you can watch my actions. My words mean nothing. But you just pay attention, okay? Man, this stuff really comes in waves. It really does. And so I'm just going to be honest, since I've had already called the police. And everything's not, what's been said has been said. I'm waiting on a call back from the non-duty or an off-duty officer. I'm so sorry. I finally changed my clothes. I don't feel safe enough to take a shower. Pretty scared. I kind of wish someone could come here and be with me. There's literally multiple beds. I mean, if someone could come here and take myself somewhere else, that'd be great. Unfortunately, the GoFundMe money, for some reason, I don't know. I don't want to say anything, allegedly, but things are odd on my end, to say the least. And, yeah, I don't want to be at this hotel anymore. I do not feel safe. I just called them non-emergency. I almost just called 911 again. And just strange things happening. KPD is going to have a lot of explaining to do. Let's just say that.
In this video, Jalen said she wasn't even comfortable enough to take a shower and that she almost called 911 again because she didn't feel safe. This was really the moment where we began to wonder if she might be experiencing some kind of mental health episode. Even if she had previously been in a toxic environment, it seems like she was removed from that situation a while ago. Yet, she was still constantly posting and expressing intense fear, which started to come across more as paranoia than precaution. And we're not the only ones who noticed. A lot of people on social media have pointed out that after her last hospital visit for sepsis, she hasn't seen the same. Many believe she's become increasingly paranoid. Now, while paranoia isn't a direct symptom of sepsis, severe sepsis or septic shock can sometimes lead to long-term effects on the brain, especially if there was an organ damage or reduced oxygen to the brain. This condition, called post-sepsis syndrome, can include confusion, memory issues, anxiety, depression, and in some cases, changes in the behavior or thought patterns, like heightened fear or paranoia. So while we can't diagnose anything, it's not completely out of the question that some of her current behavior could be linked up to what she went through medically. Now, there is one more video of her we want to show you before we move on from this topic.
Good morning, everybody. I don't know what time it is where you are. Here in Washington State, it's 2:09 in the morning. I needed to let y'all know because someone told me I gotta tell you, I'm okay. I know it doesn't make a damn bit of sense to y'all. I get it. It will one day. I promise. Okay? But I can't share anything right now. But what I do need you to know is you guys saved my life. You guys rallied around me, and you gave me the courage to be strong. Not for me, but for all of you and for survivors everywhere. Now, I don't know what everything's gonna look like. I have no idea what's happening. I'm not gonna comment on anything, okay? I don't know what you're gonna find out. I don't know what you're gonna find out. And I apologize that I wasn't honest with you, but you'll understand, I promise. And even if you don't, that's okay. Even if you think, hey,
Once again, she was being incredibly vague and refused to share any concrete details about what she was supposedly going through. To be honest, that just seemed really sketchy. If she genuinely wanted people to believe her and support her, you'd think she would at least share something. Some kind of information or context that help people understand what she's facing. But instead, it was the same cryptic posts over and over again. And while we understand that survivors can struggle to open up, the lack of transparency, especially while asking for public support, made it really hard to not question the credibility of her claims. Aside from everything else, another key details we came across was a message that Jaylin received from a member of her ex-partner's family. Now, we don't know exactly who sent it, but based on the wording and the mention of her partner's father, it seems likely that it came from someone close to her ex, possibly even his mother. The message itself was sent to her privately, but Jaylin decided to share it publicly across her social media platforms, seemingly to prove a point or validate her side of the story, which is something you will see again soon enough. Jaylin loves to put her private messages on display, and it always somehow ends up harming her. Anyways, this is the email she received from her ex-partner's family. It read, "I am sorry you're going through a breakup. Let me set things straight. My husband and I welcome you into our family, gave you a home to live in, even though it was very difficult for us. Our family has given you food and money on many occasions. You have never been abused. My son worked hard to support you through your illness, and with no expectations in return, he loved you. Breakups are hard on both parties, but to put the blame all on one side and take no responsibility is not the way adults behave. Please take care and good luck with everything." Now, we're honestly not sure why Jaylin decided to put this message out for everyone to see, because if anything, all it really confirms is that she's been living at her ex-partner's family home, staying with them, and even accepting financial help from them during this entire time. She's claimed in several Instagram stories that her ex-partner's family has been threatening her, but based on the content of this message, at least to us, it didn't come across as threatening at all. In fact, it seemed more like a frustrated but composed attempt to set boundaries or express concern. Definitely not the kind of message you'd expect from someone actively trying to harm or intimidate you. But this wasn't the only time Jaylin tried to expose someone and ended up shooting herself in the foot. As you guys know by now, throughout her entire domestic abuse situation, she was posting non-stop on her Instagram stories. It became evident that she was spiraling, and not a lot of people were genuinely concerned for her. If she truly was in contact with the police and trying to take legal action against her abuser, as she claimed, then the reasonable thing to do would have been to step back from social media entirely. When you're involved in a legal matter, anything you post online can potentially be used against you, and it's usually advised to stay quiet and let things unfold properly. But Jaylin either didn't know this or didn't care, and when someone tried to politely point this out to her, she didn't take it as a constructive advice. Instead, she launched into yet another rant, trying to expose that person too. The person we are talking about here is another plus-size creator called Annette, from an account called Fat Girl Traveling. Now, if you're not familiar, this is a social media account that promotes body positivity and size inclusivity, especially when it comes to traveling. Annette and Jaylin knew each other through this platform. At one point, Jaylin had apparently written an article for the page, and that's how their connection started. They were also both part of the same online community centered around these values. So it felt natural when Annette reached out to Jalen after seeing the flood of concerning stories she had been posting. And honestly, from our perspective, nothing Annette said seemed offensive at all. On the contrary, her message came across as genuinely concerned and filled with thoughtful advice, something you'd expect from someone who cared about Jalen's well-being. This is the message she sent to Jalen on Instagram. She said in this text, "Hey boo, I see you going through it. I'm sending you a big hug and asking you to put the phone down. You were sharing too much, babe. I know you don't want to feel like you're going through stuff alone, but you are. That's life. Shit hits the fan. We realize that the only one that will take care of us is us. I know we're not super close, but as someone in community with you and someone that has been through a lot, everything is not for public consumption, especially while you're in it. Some stuff could be just like, is anyone available in X area on X day? But watching your stories, it looks like you're spiraling, babe. Please put your phone down. I love you." In our opinion, all Annette said was that Jalen needed to put her phone down, and that advice was clearly for her own good. Sure, the message wasn't sugar-coated, but it was real and grounded in concern. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a tough situation, it's messages like these that can help actually snap you back into reality and help you recognize the unhealthy patterns you're stuck in. Encouragement doesn't always mean cheering you on. It can also mean holding up a mirror. Unfortunately, Jalen didn't see it that way. She took major offense to the message and even went as far as to threaten Annette with legal action. And because she wasn't happy about the message Annette sent her, Jalen went straight to social media. She posted a screenshot of the DM to her story, clearly trying to paint Annette in a negative light, and then followed it up with several videos ranting about the situation.
This is Jalen Chaney. I am not under duress anymore. The police have been contacted. I'm actually in refuge and I'm safe. However, there are some community members I'm going to have to tell you about when I do come back. And Annette Richmond of Fat Girls Traveling and Fat Girls Travel and Trips, who I've been associated with in the past, I need you to know publicly, I don't associate with her. She knows what she said to me. She knows what she accused me of. I have proof. I'm not going to post it. I've asked her to please take off my writing as a contributor for her because it's been very, 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 very performative inclusivity. You guys are up to make your own decision. I will be blocking her. It's public. I have it screen recorded, so I'm just letting you know. As of now, I'm safe. I need no help, but I am going to be taking a break. Per Annette's instruction, apparently, because I'm spiraling, trying to survive. I know everybody else has reached out. It's sad that Annette's this way, but it's okay because I have proof. So I'm going to be taking a break from now, but I love you all so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Many of you are concerned for me, okay? My name is Jalen Chaney. The police know where I am. My perpetrator and his whole family will be, I'm going to let God do his work. But what I will not stand for are these community members that are performatively inclusive. Annette has been that way since day one. I have tagged her. I have a lawyer. I'm ready to take her to court. She's done many things that are actually super unethical, and I didn't want to have to take it this way, but I will not be disrespected as a survivor, and especially as someone who claims to be a survivor in our community who uplifted her and helped save her life, supposedly. I know that I've seen her caught in some lies, and it's really sad. In no way am I trying to be threatening, but I will not be talked to that way. And you can see how condescending and gross she is, and that speaks for itself. Do I support her? Absolutely not. You know who I do support, though, is Fat Girls Travel too. And there'll be more to come on that, but they have been here for me through and through, and they are women of God. And I have been trying to disassociate, but this is obviously the last straw for me with Fat Girls Traveling. I feel ashamed that I wrote for them, and they, honestly, many of you can believe whatever you want. I don't have to speak at all. I'm actually going to be taking a social media break now for the first time ever because I've been in captivity for 28 years, whether you know it or not. I will be ready to speak, and when I do, my truth will be told. It's been recorded on the police footage. I've recorded every single thing Annette's ever done. Everyone that has pretended to be for this community and has not, whether they know it or not, God had a plan and they will be exposed. And I don't have to say a damn thing. But this will be the last message you see from me for I don't know how long. But please know I'm safe. As soon as I have enough funds to cover what I need, I will be turning off the donations to the GoFundMe, and I won't be posting that anymore. I just needed to get safety, and it's looking like I have more than enough of that. And I have support from people who are truly inclusive and don't pretend to be something they're not.
I won't be speaking to Annette ever again. Feel free to do whatever you need to do, but just know that I don't support that group. I never did, and I never will again. They paid me for my work, and that is the only reason I wrote for them. And more to come on that later. Love you guys.
So yeah, there is that. Honestly, it's getting really annoying how she keeps making these big claims and shows absolutely no proof. Like she said, Annette is unethical and that she has the receipts, but conveniently refuses to post them. And once again, she says, you're gonna hear more about this soon. But spoiler alert, we didn't, because not long after that, she got arrested. Yes, you heard that right. On Feb 28, 2025, Jalen was placed under a 72-hour felony hold investigation. When we first heard about it, we were honestly pretty confused for a moment. And don't get us wrong, we still are. As of now, there is only speculation about what actually went down. But based on what people are guessing, we kind of think they might be onto something. However, before we get into what actually went down, let's first talk about the charges Jalen racked up during the arrest. She was taken in on 6 charges in total, which included misuse of the 911 system, interference with a healthcare facility, resisting arrest, obstruction of law enforcement, trespassing, and yes, assault. So after Jalen was arrested, her bail was set at just $2,500, which is relatively low considering the number and the nature of the charges. However, from what we've been able to find out, she wasn't bailed out immediately and actually remained in custody for a while, at least until May. Her arraignment took place on March 5th, which is when she was formally read the charges against her. Now, we don't know a lot about what's going on since Jalen was arrested. Most of the information available comes from her public records of her court hearings and mental health evaluation scheduled, which honestly don't reveal much about the full picture. However, based on those records, we do know that she was booked by Benton County Corrections on 6 charges. Out of those 6, 4 have since been dropped. The remaining 2 charges still standing are assault and trespassing. As for the assault charge, she is facing a 3rd-degree assault, which is classified as a Class C felony in the state of Washington. Now, a lot of people don't know what that is, so here is a little explanation. According to what we read online, a 3rd-degree assault typically involves causing harm to a law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or another protected professional, or it may include other specific acts that don't rise to 1st or 2nd-degree assault that are still deemed violent or threatening. Given these details, there has been a lot of speculation online about what might have actually happened. And keep in mind, all of it is still just speculation. According to people on the internet, considering the 3rd-degree assault charge, it's possible that Jalen attacked either a police officer or a nurse. That theory holds some weight, especially since she was also booked for resisting arrest, so those 2 charges could easily be connected. We do know that she called 911, and she even mentioned it in a video. So one possible scenario is that she called the police, they showed up, and things escalated. Maybe she refused to comply and ended up resisting arrest, and during the encounter, she allegedly assaulted an officer. Another theory is that the incident happened at a hospital. She may have gotten into a conflict with a nurse or healthcare worker, possibly refusing to leave the facility after receiving care, which could explain the trespassing charge. She has previously stated that she didn't feel safe, so it's not a stretch to think that she was spiraling and maybe even call 911 from there. But at the end of the day, these are just stories floating around. Nothing has been confirmed, and there is no definitive way to know what really went down until more concrete details emerge. However, what we do know from the public records is that Jalen has been staying at some psychiatric facility. On March 5th, during her arraignment, the court ordered a competency review, which suggests that she was deemed potentially incompetent to stand trial. This means the court had reason to believe she might not fully understand the legal proceedings or be able to participate in her own defense. Her competency review was scheduled for March 19th, indicating that mental health professionals would assess whether she was mentally fit to move forward with her case. Another thing that we found out from Reddit is that more recently, not only was her mental competency hearing pushed back again, but the court also granted the use of force against her. This usually means that she may have been uncooperative or resistant during the legal or medical process, to the extent that the court had legally authorized physical intervention, whether to transport her, administer treatment, or ensure her appearance in court. It is a serious move and typically only happens when a defendant is severely non-compliant or poses a risk to themselves or others. In conclusion, Jalen's situation is both deeply unsettling or tragic. What began as online drama has now spiraled into a real-life legal and mental health crisis. From the charges she's faced to her being deemed potentially incompetent to stand trial, it's clear that she's dealing with far more than internet controversy. While speculation runs wild online, the hard truth is that most of what's happening behind the scenes remains unclear, and the only confirmed details come from sparse court documents and public records. Whether it was an altercation with a health worker, a police officer, or a full mental breakdown that triggered the chain of events, one thing is obvious: Jalen is in a dark place right now. As her legal proceedings continue and her mental health is further evaluated, we can only hope she receives the help she needs, and that the internet remembers that at the center of all this chaos is a real person unraveling. We still don't know when Jalen is getting out, or even if she is anytime soon. And if she does, the bigger question remains: what happens next? Will she come forward and explain what really went down, or will things spiral even further for J-Bay? With so many unanswered questions, legal complications, and clear signs of mental health crisis, it's hard to say what direction this story will take. Whether this marks the beginning of a long recovery or a deeper descent is something only time will tell. On this note, we would like to end today's video. If you have stayed this far, then don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and hit subscribe. Also, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below and share your thoughts with us. Why do you think J-Bay was arrested in the first place? Is she coming out anytime soon? And most importantly, what brought about her downfall?